yourself, where you're from, your interests, that sort of thing.
Well, I was brought up in an Irish family, so
Oh, wow.
moved around quite a bit. I've been in Austria since 2016, having moved from Scotland.
Okay.
Interests are, we have 2 horses, a cat, and I like hiking and generally exercise.
Brilliant, brilliant. And, well, you're here this morning, but have you always believed in Jesus?
Yes. My mother was Roman Catholic, my dad was Protestant. He converted to Catholicism when he married my mum. And I was brought up in the Catholic faith and have always believed in God.
Okay. And so you were just happily kind of going along in your Catholic faith and...
As with most teenagers, we moved to Manchester from Gloucestershire when I was 12, so that was a bit of a shock to the system anyway. And on top of that, that was the first time we went to a Catholic school. And I really struggled with all the rules and having to learn facts, all the hell and damnation bit about Catholicism. But that didn't put me off God. And I carried on sort of in my faith until I was 27.
Okay.
And then we lost my mum and my gran on the same day.
Oh, wow.
And I was just so angry with God. You know, I just completely fell out with him. Didn't stop believing in him, I just wasn't talking to him.
So what changed? Essentially that means you're back with us today, but what changed? What happened?
Probably a good 20 plus years later, my husband became really unwell. So I hadn't been attending church, praying or anything for all that time. And at that point, I just didn't feel as though I had the support I needed. I just felt drawn back to church. So I went back to a local Catholic church. And I think I was very lucky at that time because the priest there was very sort of broad-minded. He was all about love and forgiveness rather than the hell and damnation, so it worked for me. And then we moved down from Scotland to Austria. My dad was becoming unwell. We just felt as though we needed to be nearer to support the family. And again, I automatically went back to a Catholic church. But being more mature and wanting, and having more time, I think, I wanted to do more. I wanted a church that did more in the community. I wanted to learn more because I've never really been encouraged to learn about the Christian faith. And I've always found that Catholic churches don't tend to do Bible study. I've never heard of an Alpha course. And at that point, I just started feeling more and more disconnected with a very set routine of Mass and worship. And also prayer. And I didn't want to be just following rules and ticking boxes. So at that point, I followed my dad's attitude of, well, let's try a different church then. So I visited local churches. I didn't really want to go to another church that was really hierarchical, like the Church of England. And I was really drawn to independent churches. Through that, I managed to attend an Alpha course. I really wish I'd known about that years ago, because what it backed up was that all the things I believed in were just fairy tales. They were facts, and they're rooted in historical facts and documents, and the Bible's a historical document. And you know, it was just lovely to hear that and be able to discuss it openly with other people.
Brilliant, brilliant. So how has your understanding of what it means to follow Jesus, to be a Christian, how has that changed maybe in the last, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, hasn't it?
I think through reading the Bible, being able to discuss that with other people, it's made me think more about what we should be doing. I've learned that we're saved anyway, which I hadn't quite appreciated that as a Catholic. And So Jesus has already saved us. We don't have to go out and do loads of things to prove that we're good Christians. But there's a want to do that as a group. And I think being lucky enough to have more time, I want to do more to help others. I want to do that from a basis of knowing more about my faith. So that if I'm asked about why I'm a Christian, I can give more reasons. Or if I'm asked by anybody, about Jesus, or they say, oh, he's made up, I can come back with that, with information and facts, and say, well, that's not the case. And at least there, I'm opening some sort of discussion with them.
Brilliant. One last thing. If there's maybe one thing that you'd like people to take away from your story, what would that be?
I think probably the key thing for me was attending Alpha. I think it's really important, even for people who have attended church. I think it's great for those who have fallen away from church, maybe feeling the need for some support. It's just knowing a bit more, I think, helps. There's too many people willing to sort of condemn religions because of some of the bad things that have been done in the name of religion in the past. But that's not through following Jesus' example. His was always turn the other cheek, and we just need to be doing that a bit more.
Brilliant, brilliant. And thank you ever so much. Thank you. You'd think that we'd rehearsed that, she answered that so well. So well done, Anne. Give her a round of applause.